Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told out of Voice of Radio. So today, we seem to have news about some more secret rares that are going to be finding their way into Fusion Strike. It's still incidentally going to be the lowest number of secret rares we've had since we moved to this new style with alternate arts, etc. in battle styles. But it's going to be a little bit closer than we thought it was going to be. And frankly, everything we're hearing is that there are going to be some secret rares included, which are frankly ones that I was not expecting. I think is a nice way to put it. I think that's probably the best way to put it. Now, this is, of course, unconfirmed until we get official confirmation, but this is starting to look very, very likely, and like I said, pre-releases are starting very soon, so we're not going to have to wait long for that official confirmation. Now, some of the ones are basically a given. Like over in Evolving Skies, we were supposed to have Shauna, Schoolboy, and Schoolgirl. They were supposed to be in the set. Following the releases, along with the Japanese releases, they should have been in the set. And then it turns out they weren't in the set. And so, inevitably, they are just being pushed into here. None of that should be particularly weird, quite frankly. All of that should be absolutely expected. So that gives you free full arts and free rainbow rares. I'm not showing you the rainbow rares, right? They're the same ones, they're rainbow fired, you know the deal. So this is all absolutely expected, nothing particularly strange. It would have been a turn up for the books if they weren't included. And obviously you've got all the ones from Fusion Strike, including, for argument's sake, Breakdancing Genesect, King Greedent, and, Mew. Who doesn't want that Mew, ladies and gentlemen? Trick question. Everybody wants that Mew. So okay, this all makes perfect sense so far. This is all to be expected. Similarly, the alternate arts of both Inteleon and Gengar, it would have been a huge surprise if they weren't included. We knew that we were going to be getting Espeon VMAX. That had been confirmed. Which meant we were getting the context of the VMAX high class deck for Inteleon, which then meant we were getting the alternate art. And exactly the same argument for Gengar here. We knew we were getting the regular, so we knew we were getting the VMAX deck, and not getting the alternate art would have been frankly extremely strange. So all of this is to be expected, and when we talked about it having the fewest alternate arts the other day, I told you that we were going to be expecting 37. 29 from Fusion Strike, or Fusion Arts. 6 from Evolving Skies, they were the 3 supporters I showed you with the full arts and the rainbows, and then your alternate arts of Inteleon and Gengar. None of this is particularly new or weird or fascinating, because I told you this was all coming. And that would give 37 secret rares. I'm using the Japanese definition of full arts and above because I've said this before. I do think it is the best way to do it. And also, full arts and above are what you're really looking to pull. So this is, in my opinion, I've said this multiple times, this is the best way to count it. Now, the low bar at the moment is Battle Styles, which came in with 42. That is the lowest bar at the moment. Chilling Reign actually had 75 and Evolving Skies had 72. So when I say Battle Styles is a low bar, I mean by a huge margin. Well, it seems like we are getting 3 more that we weren't expecting. And as far as I'm concerned, it is still extremely strange, but we are getting Espeon VMAX. The rumours have been swirling around for a while, and it's gotten to the point where it absolutely looks to be true. But it still makes no sense. And I told you, and look, when I'm wrong, I am more than happy to admit that I'm wrong. I was wrong about this. I told you that Espeon VMAX did not make sense in the set. And I stand by that, incidentally, it doesn't. But I also told you Espeon VMAX was unlikely to be coming in the set. And that was wrong, because it turns out it is coming in the set. But it still doesn't make any sense. Because if you're going to cut this from Evolving Skies, which is where it would naturally have fit, why just this? At the very least, very least, I would have expected them to cut the Espeon V alternate art as well. It makes absolutely no sense to just cut Espeon VMAX. And I know that Espeon VMAX was in its own set over in Japan in a weird thing, and I know, but that doesn't matter. Because the fact of the matter is, Japan does that. Japan had that weird set, which was the only place you could get half of the EV VMAXs. This is the kind of thing that Japan does. Japan had the Flareon, Jolteon, and Vaporeon VMAX as ridiculously hyper rare promos that you had to apply and write a deck list and fill in a little report online to try and win, and we're just getting them as regular promos in boxes. So we shouldn't be looking at Japan and going, well, it was in a special box in Japan, it could have gone anywhere. No, we still have a pretty good cadence. And Espeon VMAX should have been in Evolving Skies. And if they were going to cut some cards from Evolving Skies, like they did for Shauna and Schoolboy and Schoolgirl, it makes sense to cut sections. So whereas they picked 3 supporters, and they cut the supporters with the full arts and the rainbow rares, that makes absolute perfect sense. I get it. But cutting just one of the EVs, and even then only cutting the alternate art VMAX, not the card as a whole, not the alternate art V and VMAX, just the alternate art VMAX. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, that still doesn't make any sense to me. My prediction, and I will never know if this is true or not, because this is not the kind of thing that Pokemon are likely to announce, but my prediction is that this was supposed to be in its own product. That this was cut from the set for a reason, like the alternate art Flareon V and VMAX were cut to be put in the Flareon VMAX Premium Collection. Cannot wait for that product. I am willing to believe that the Espeon was cut for its own product. And for whatever reason, and again, we will never know, for whatever reason, that product got cancelled, and therefore it gets pushed into Fusion Strike. I still refuse to believe this was always planned to be put in Fusion Strike, because cutting just the alternate art VMAX of that Pokemon makes no sense. Cut the whole Espeon line, or cut the regular and the alternate art VMAX, or cut the alternate arts of the V and the VMAX. Any of those, although weird, would still make a little bit of sense. Cutting just the alternate art VMAX, I don't buy it, ladies and gentlemen. I don't buy it. Although if they did cut it to put it in its own product, I totally would buy it. But that's not an option right now. And that leads us to the other 2 which are being included, which are the alternate arts of Celebi and Sandaconda. And weirdly, I have absolutely no issue with these. Now, for those of you that may have forgotten, these were essentially box topper promos over in Japan. Chilling Reign was released as a double set in Japan, and if you bought 2 packs of Silver Lance, or 2 boxes, you would get yourself the alternate art Sandaconda, and if you bought 2 boxes of Jet Black Poltergeist, you would get yourself the alternate art of Celebi. Okay, that makes perfect sense. Why were they not in Chilling Reign? This actually happens fairly often, where Japan gets these weird box toppers that for whatever reason just don't end up over here. It might be that they are made a little bit late or whatever, but it's not that weird for us to get Japanese box toppers a little bit late, and I honestly have no huge problem here. These could have been put in separate boxes, they could have been put in tins, they could have been used as promos in a million different ways, and what's actually happened is they have just been popped into Fusion Strike to up the number of secret rare cards in there, which I think is pretty cool because these are cool cards. You know, Celebi's a super popular Pokemon, so I like this. And I know that these were special in Japan, and then they're being put in a couple sets later, and I have no problem with it. And Espeon was a special card in Japan, and I do have a problem with it. But the thing to remember is that the Espeon VMAX would fit super nicely into EV Heroes. They cut it for the extra pack. The Sandaconda and Celebi always felt a little bit extra, like they were little bonuses, and this is the kind of thing we see. Plus, it's not like there were alternate art VMAXs that were also cut from the set, or left in the set. There were no alternate art VMAXs, so I don't know, I have no problem with this. But the upshot of this means that we actually then end up at 40 secret rares, which is still lower than Battle Styles, still the lowest since we went to, essentially Battle Styles was the start of year 2 in Sword and Shield, and they did change things up. That was where we got the advent of the alternate arts, and it was where things really changed in terms of sets. There is a clear line, essentially, between how sets looked in Vivid Voltage, the end of year 1, and Battle Styles, the start of year 2. There is a clear difference if you look. So now we've got 29 from Fusion Arts, 6 from Evolving Skies, we've got Inteleon and Gengar, we've got Sandaconda and Celebi, and we've got Espeon VMAX, which brings us up to a grand total of 40. Which is fewer than Battle Styles, but this is still going to be a much better set. Because you see, in Battle Styles, like the best we had was Tyranitar and Espeon. And don't get me wrong, right? Tyranitar and Espeon are popular Pokemon. People like Tyranitar and Espeon. But in this set, we've got Mew VMAX, Espeon VMAX, Celebi. Like, that's not even close in terms of popularity of Pokemon. So we got this weird thing whereby even though there are fewer rares, or secret rares, than there were in Battle Styles, this is still going to be a more sought after set because the number of really cool Pokemon is a little bit higher. And, you know, I told you that Chilling Reign had way more, over 70. If we look at Chilling Reign and we compare it to Fusion Strike, Fusion Strike's got the better Pokemon. Like, the really good ones in Chilling Reign, we were looking at, like, Blaziken VMAX was one of the more popular ones. Galarian Moltres, although that was largely because the artwork was absolutely spectacular. Shadow Rider Calyrex, but again, that was artwork and playability more than the popularity of the Pokemon. So even though Chilling Reign had a lot more in terms of pure numbers of secret rares, the kind of Pokemon being featured were not super high level, whereas if we're looking at Fusion Strike and you got Mew and Espeon and Celebi, yeah, these are next level, ladies and gentlemen. These are next level. So there we go. We are still waiting official confirmation, but the word does very much seem to be out there that these cards are going to be included. It's still going to be the biggest set ever, that is real. It is still going to have the fewest amount of secret rares in, you know, since Battle Style, since everything changed. That's still true, but we're going to have more of them, and some that people are really going to be after, and I think that is, well, honestly, rather spiffing. But I want to know what you think. So let me know in the comment section, would you? Go nuts! Be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCG Radio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can do exactly that. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.